Good morning, folks, and welcome to another great edition of Money Truth Moments with our very own Money Truth expert and whisperer, Judy Copenbarger. How are you?
I'm awesome. Good morning, Carlos. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. It's another beautiful Tuesday, and I look forward to today's discussion. Which, by the way, folks, if you're not following Judy, please make sure you do at judycopenbarger.today. Today's episode is a very special episode because we are going to be talking about small money leaks and become big financial problems. So you don't want to miss this. Share it out with your friends as well. So as always, it's we run out of time, so I want to get started right away. So what do you say we get going, Judy?
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right. So let me ask you, why are the smallest expenses sometimes the hardest one for us to notice?
Because you said it. They're small. They're little, right? They just kind of go under the radar. It's only $5. It's only $3. Well, if you do that enough times every day, every week, every month, every year, it really can add up. But boy, it can go undetected, can't it? Those little bits. Don't even notice.
And I'm sure we're going to definitely talk about this, but even like when you really sit down and you ever analyze how much money you spend on coffee, it's crazy. Like, yeah, it's just we'll talk about that a little bit later today too. So,
Easy to do for sure.
and those are like ones you're saying, it's $3 here, $5 here, no big deal, just on the go, whatever. But it does add up. So let me ask you this: why do people believe it? A few dollars here, there, like we're talking about with coffee and stuff. This doesn't really matter.
Well, it just seems harmless, and we're focusing on the big bills, the big rocks, the mortgage, and the money we have to spend at the gas station or the charging station. um, it's just you don't even think about those little tap to pay. Like you said, you just grab an ice cream cone, you just grab a coffee, you just grab a little drive through and get one of those breakfast sandwiches, right? You just get into the habit, the lifestyle habit, where easily those little $3, $4, $5, $6, $8, $10, can just add up. And you look at the end of the month and go, wow, I didn't realize I did that 5 times, 10 times, 12 times. That's, sometimes hundreds of dollars, for some thousands of dollars. It can really add up. Even those little things, that the in-app purchases where you just like upgrade something or you add something and then now it's a subscription. So when you
Right.
have these expenses, whether they're large or small, some are intentional, some are unintentional. We really want to take a look at those unintentional expenses. That's something like a subscription that you turn on and you intended to stop, before it started charging you over and over and over, and you just didn't. So that's an expense, might be small, but it's unintentional. The intentional ones we can definitely do something about, right?
Yeah.
Driving through and all that stuff. So, sometimes maybe we just need a Judy bucks instead of a Starbucks, right? Just do it at home and save $8 for that cup of coffee or two.
So when we're talking about this, what have you seen? Like, what are some of the most common money leaks you see that people don't pay attention to until it gets you, or in their world, it's a little late?
Those delivery charges, things of convenience. We like convenience. We like the easy button, right? So things of convenience, anything that's going to deliver it to you or make it faster, make it more efficient. Those are the things that sometimes it's like, well, could I have waited another 6 hours for that Amazon delivery? Could I have waited until tomorrow morning? And then you just go, oh, it's only a few bucks. Sure. Let's just add it on. I think that's a big one because so many people now shop where things come to you instead of going to the mall or the stores like we used to. And those delivery charges can really add up. The packing charges, all those little extra things. Buy a second one and only pay for shipping. Well, the shipping is $10.95, right? And the item is $8. So you just really want to look at all those little add-ons and just be aware. I mean, it's just taking a moment, being aware exactly what am I paying, exactly what am I having delivered to me. It's not that hard, just takes a minute.
And I think that's to your point. It's not that hard, but I tend to believe sometimes we get really lazy and it's just like, I'll get around to it kind of thing too, which is another big issue, right? I'm sure you see all the time.
We like convenience. We definitely do. We like to be comfortable and convenient and home in our slippers.
All right, folks, we are talking about today where is all of this money going, right? We are talking about small money leaks that become big financial problems if you don't get a handle on them.
The leaky
One of the
cheeky.
things, yeah, exactly. One of the things too that we added to the show is a section called Money Minute, right? And today I'm going to give you guys your money myth, and then Judy will give us the answer to that. So the money myth is it's only a few dollars. It doesn't really matter.
That's the money myth. Oh, it's just a
That's
couple
the
of
myth.
bucks. The money truth is those couple of bucks, that one little $5 expense, when it's multiplied, becomes a habit, and that habit can really become a big hole in your bucket. That's when you're really missing it. You don't miss $5. Most people don't. Some might, but most people don't. But when it's 50, maybe 500, probably 5,000, of course, right? And so the money truth is it's not just one little $5. It's a habit we got to watch out for. And you can do that.
So no, absolutely. And I think to your point, it's just paying attention, right? I think that's the key to all this. It's just really watching it and paying
Intention.
attention. Yeah.
First of all, believe that you can and that you deserve it, and then just take action and do it. Nike, right? Just do it.
Yeah. So let me switch back to think of a client of yours, right? That until they got to you, they're living paycheck to paycheck, but they could be doing better
Hmm.
until you kind of rip that band-aid off their eyes and say, hey, this is what's going on. We always love hearing your stories.
Yeah, there was this couple in their 70s that was referred to me by a California gal, and it was her mother, well, her parents out there in Texas. And this was several years ago. I think I may have, shared their story before. They had never mastered spending. They'd never mastered intentional money handling. I mean, they just never did it. They always overspend. And it wasn't that the ends weren't meeting for them. They were actually going deeper and deeper in debt. And all they needed to do was get a spending plan, master a spending plan. They still got to live well. They got to enjoy life and have all the quality of life items in their life they wanted. But when they became intentional, they cut out stuff that really was unnecessary and not even bringing joy and quality to their life. They thought it did, but it didn't. They got intentional about the big rocks. What do we really want to have? For him, it was a country club membership. Golfing was his life. That was where his friends were. That was where his exercise were, sunshine, all that stuff, fresh air, all of that stuff. And it was an expense, but it was one that we kept on. It was a value to them. That was a pretty big rock, but it really made a difference. All those other little things, shopping for this, decorating for that, these little going out things, it was more of a lifestyle, not thinking about it. Well, instead of a $50 dinner, let's do a $300 dinner. Well, that's fine to do, but you don't have to do that every week. It adds up, right? So when they got intentional about what really brought quality to their life, and they were thinking about what do we really want to do and what can we cut out, it was amazing how several $1,000s came out of their spending plan every month, not even missing it. Actually, quality of life improved. And they cut out some of the other big things. They downsized, they did some other things, and it totally revolutionized their life. And when I was working with them, I check in. At first, it was every 2 weeks. We worked together about 2 years to turn them around. Every 2 weeks, and then it was every month, and then it was every quarter. And by the end of that couple of years, they went from this terrible debt, despair, awful, we're ready to jump off a cliff, we hate each other, to unbelievable transformation. Their
Wow.
marital harmony came back, the harmony with their kids. They weren't ashamed and hiding anymore the debt and their, spending. And they were just like, look, we're celebrating life. We have enough and more than enough. So that's one story that just always resonates in my mind when I think about, and it was later in life. These guys were mid 70s by the time I turned around, and they had neither of them had ever mastered just monthly money spending, looking for these little things. Where are the leaks? How can I be intentional? It's just basic spending plan stuff. Simple, not easy, especially when we got, decades-year-old habits. But it's very, very simple to do. Sometimes it takes accountability and just good mindset and intention. It can be done.
No, absolutely. And folks, if
And
you're
they lived
just joining,
happily ever after. I have to say, they lived happily ever after. They're doing great.
that's a fantastic story. It's also very inspirational too. So I mean, even though you may struggle in the beginning, there's always that hope that you can do it, like you said,
Yeah.
which is great. And folks, if you're just joining us, please make sure you watch the beginning of the show, because we are talking about small money leaks that kind of drain your spending plan, or I was going to say the B word for budget, but no, exactly. So make sure that you are following Judy at judycopenbarger.today too. There's a wealth of content and information that you can at your fingertips. You just got to go to her site. And also, please let us know if you have any questions regarding some of the topics of today as well too. And speaking of questions, I'm going to follow up with how can someone find the money leaks hiding in their own spending?
Yeah, you just do a little basic audit. Audit sounds like a big scary word. It's really not. It's just checking over things. So I would say grab your last couple of credit card statements, bank statements, wherever the money comes out, that just kind of happens, basic expenses. And maybe look at the last 30 days of all of that and just say, okay, what do I have? What are the recurring things? What are those under $10 things that you always just glance through, when you're usually looking for hundreds or thousands of dollars to make sure there's no fraud or something. Look at those little numbers. Look at every number. Look at the little ones and say, did I really need it? Is it something that is repeating, that maybe I don't need anymore? Do these things really bring me value? Is it a need, a want, or a wish? All of those kind of things. And then are there things on there that I should be adding? Right. So I think it's just looking over 30 months, have a little basic audit. That'll fix it up. You'll find them. Then you can decide what to do about them. But sometimes people are surprised when they see how many, if you add them all up. Oh, and those recurring things. When there's a recurring charge and it's only $3.95 or $2.99 or something, but you see it every month, you'll see these patterns. Add that up, times 12. How much am I spending in a year for that? How many of those are there? Times how many, right? Well, that could pay for a whole trip, a weekend trip, getaway, or pay for the Christmas gifts. So look for those things, and it's amazing what you might find.
It's a great reminder of doing these audits because, like you said, you don't know what you're really spending until you start paying attention to it, and it can creep up. I mean, we talked about subscriptions, we talked about different things like that. Until you actually look at it, you may be double paying for something, and you're not even paying attention. I think you've given us some great examples in the last few shows of some of that too as well.
It's true.
So
I think everybody's got them.
let's talk about how do we stop money leaks without feeling like we're not allowed to enjoy our money, right? It's like the whole diet thing, or the moment you say you can't do this, you want to do it like 10 times more, right?
Yeah, you kind of do. It's just intentionality. Really pick the things that bring quality of life to you and the other people in your life that are important to you. What brings value to you, and not just value like growing wealth, but value like quality, where my life is meaningful. And sometimes it's not money, or money is not required for those meaningful moments. It's just having time together, having connection. Gary Chapman's love languages, having time together, having communication, gifts. And a gift can be, I picked a flower. Well, be careful where you pick it, but I picked a flower. I didn't have to send you, 12 dozen roses. It's all those little, those little, we talk about the little things. You don't bring me flowers. Songs like that go, oh yeah, it's not that stuff. It's those meaningful moments. It doesn't have to be expensive. And that, I mean, that's kind of out of the scope of what we're talking about today, but that's just basic truth. I would say that's a money truth. What is it that I want? I want connection. Ask your family what they want. I want connection. I want memories. I want unique experiences. I want something. Money doesn't necessarily be a requirement for all of these things. Sometimes money can qualify those things, but it's not a requirement for those things. What are my habits? Is there a better way that I can spend the money that I do spend to get more juice out of life, to have more quality, more joy, more connection, more peace? Peace is a big one, right? Get rid of debt, peace, freedom shows up for people. So many ways to slice this thing. And it's such a personal thing. Maybe debt is what needs to go away. Maybe spending plan is what needs to be in balance. Maybe acquiring something that increases your lifestyle, moving to a different zip code, getting a bigger car because now you have triplets, right? And you need all these car seats. All those things really are part of the recipe of the ingredients to make this amazing outcome. And one of these things, it's a very simple thing, but again, not easy, is getting rid of these leaks, finding the money, I can go make more money, or I can just manage what I have better and find the money right there in my own wallet. That's what this is all about.
And we know how amazing you are with your wisdom and all that, your talents. But we also didn't know that you actually sound like a very professional singer. So I don't know. One of these days we're gonna have you sing something for us, for sure.
Maybe little tiny bits. I
There's
don't know
yeah,
if you need a
there's
whole
some
song.
hidden talents that you haven't shared with us here in the audience.
Who
So that's
knew?
awesome.
Who knew?
Ah,
Maybe we'll
So
start a
briefly,
singing money segment. I don't know.
so
But I love it.
briefly,
What? Oh, I'm
oh
sorry.
no, go ahead.
I think we
Go
have a
ahead.
little delay, and I'm just talking right over you. Technology is great. But I love how in the beginning of this show you mentioned money whisperer. I love that. Like, remember the dog whisperer show where he tells the dog what to do, but he trains the people. And that's
Yeah,
really what this is about. It's training the people how to whisper to your money. Tell your dollars what to do. Don't let your dollars tell you what you can't do. Let me say that again. You can tell your dollars what to do. Don't let your dollars tell you what you can't do. Right? So every dollar that you have has a role. Like, personify it, give it a little personality and put an outfit on it, right? Every dollar has a job. It's either paying off debt, it's paying for your lifestyle, it's set aside for a future goal, maybe retirement or some travel in the future, a big 50th anniversary trip with the whole family, whatever it is, new car. Those dollars each have a role. You get to tell them what to do. And so all of these little dollars, 3 at a time, 5 at a time, we're talking about the leaks, right? These little amounts of money, you tell them what to do. You can reassign them to go back in the big bucket for something that's more important, a bigger rock in your life, something that brings more quality instead of all these little things. You get to tell them what to do. You are the money whisperer. So that just struck me when you said that, earlier. I thought, yeah, we get to tell our money, not let it tell us. Right?
that's a great way of putting that for sure. It gives you a lot to think about, and you're absolutely 100% correct. And speaking of this, we're at the tail end of our show. Wah wah, right? But you know what that means, guys. Our challenge time. What do you got for us?
Yeah. Okay. Pull out that statement, that credit card statement, that bank statement, wherever most of your expenses are. And then in the last 30 days, write down a couple of things. Pen and paper, right? Write down 3 money leaks that you recognize. And they might be really small, a couple of bucks, right? Maybe they're bigger, but small. Find 3 money leaks, add them together, multiply by 12. That's how much in a year you're leaking from those little holes right there. And then maybe consider plugging them up. Re um, Assigning those dollars to something maybe that's more valuable to you right now. Maybe that whatever you were doing before, it's a subscription still hanging around, you don't need it. There's more value somewhere else. Do that, right? 3 leaks, add them together, multiply by 12. Look at that number. That's going to make this exercise worth it to you. Go find the money and then put it where it needs to go.
All right, folks, there is the challenge. Don't forget to tune in every Tuesdays at 8 a.m. with the replay on Thursdays at 8 p.m. And next week, we're heading into September, shifting from cash flow to protection. So you definitely want to stay tuned for that. And we're going to ask some very important questions about, well, I won't tell you. You have to tune in next week to be able to find out. Judy, any last parting words?
Make it a great week. Enjoy your family and go find those leaks. You're
All
worth it.
right. Until next week, guys, take care.